Hello everyone, my name is Tori and welcome to the Dorm Debrief Podcast. What's up, you guys? So as you saw from the intro, my name is Tori, and let's just get right into kind of like why I wanted to start this podcast and why I wanted to start YouTube. And honestly, it just comes down to the fact that I feel like the modern world has so much to talk about. As a young adult, I'm constantly learning and evolving, and I want to just be real. You know, as a child of God, I feel like I was sent down here to provide value to you all, especially through this podcast and through my YouTube, through all of my socials. So that's what I'm here to do. I want to be a real face. I feel like social media these days is so ingenuine. From being a consumer all my life, you know, I just started this kind of influencing, if you want to call it that, career. So being a consumer all my life, I realized how fake the internet is, and I don't want to be just another face on the screen to you guys. I want to be so real and so genuine, someone that you guys can talk to and relate to. So that is why I wanted to start this podcast and start this YouTube channel, and to just talk about anything and everything. Like, if you saw the podcast bio, it's about like, we're going to talk about little things like modern versus traditional relationships, you know, how I think the world can sometimes be a little bit upside down, and we're going to be bringing on in the future some special guests just to have some outside perspective and talk about things. So without further ado, let's get into the topic for today. All right, so the topic for today is going to be how I'm stepping into 2024 and how I can provide you guys with some tips and tricks on how you guys can step into 2024, being your highest self, and honestly, to learn how to get stuff done. So to give a little bit of a background, actually for this video, I want to say that 2023 has been such a learning curve for me. Obviously, a lot of you guys don't know, but I am in my freshman year of college. So for me, it's kind of a point of vulnerability. I've learned a lot through that transition, you know, just honestly being a young adult and kind of managing the world by myself. And so from that, I've learned so much when it comes to, you know, taking care of myself, relationships, friendships, all of those things, right? So for me to be stepping into 2024, having this kind of like boss mentality is really honestly a shock to me. I never thought that I was going to start this YouTube and start this podcast, but look, here we are, and I'm doing it and I'm making it happen. So I want to provide these same kind of techniques and tricks that I did so that you guys can do the same thing, and so that you guys can watch me grow and we can grow together. So let's start with number one. The first thing that I'm taking into 2024 is less content consumption and more content analysis. So what this means is what I was talking about in a few slides ago is, you know, analyzing content and not so much consuming the content. Like, we're all consumers of Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, like whatever platform, social platform you use, we're all consumers, right? And it's so easy for that stuff to get to your head, either in a negative or a positive way, but you really have to be careful what you're feeding yourself. And when I say that, I mean, like, you know, there's some things that when we're sad, we might see some sad posts and it will feed into our sadness. And it's like, we don't want to cater to those type of emotions. We want to kind of make our social media something that is for us and uplifts us, and not use it as the enemy. Like, I literally have on my mirror, social media is my tool, not my enemy. So when it comes to analyzing content, what I mean by that is, like, you know, if you are an aspiring content creator, if you just like to post or whatever it is you for your platform, like, your platform is your own digital profile. So we should treat it as such, right? So that means don't be afraid to post something that you think you like or you think you look good in. Like, if it makes you happy, don't tell anybody about it. I don't know what quote that is, but it's a quote somewhere, and it's so true. So, you know, doing what makes you happy on social media, like if you are into entrepreneurship and stocks and all of that, right? You're gonna like all of the stock and entrepreneurship videos that you see, and all your feed is going to be that. So doing those things, like, you know, liking those things to change your feed and not get the sad, depressing stuff or these like hot model bodies that you compare yourself to. Change your feed, change what you're intaking, right? Maybe spend a little bit less time on social media. And that is perfect, because I want to mention to you guys something that has helped me a lot. And it is an app, and the app is called Opal. This video is not sponsored. Like, I wish it was. one day. But the app is actually called Opal. I'm going to put it up here on the screen. And it is a digital app that kind of tracks your screen time, kind of the same way Apple does, but it gives you like little rewards and it blocks the app and you can kind of build like your little own schedule, kind of like Notion. I absolutely adore this app. It has helped me so much. They have little different levels of difficulty. So you can have like high difficulty where you can't even access the apps at all. So it's very helpful, and it's something that honestly I would recommend to a lot of people who are struggling with screen time and consuming content. Okay, so the second thing I'm bringing into 2024 is prioritizing my physical self. So what this means for me is, prioritizing like hair growth, oil pulling, like whitening teeth, like little things like that about your appearance. And I'm not saying you guys like, that appearance is everything and that you have to look good, but when it comes to just feeling good, I'm not talking specifically to the woman right now, I'm talking to the guys too who are watching this, but when you look good, you feel good, right? So prioritizing how I feel, also in correlation with how I look. And, I want to feel good. I want to look good. So prioritizing things like I have my rosemary oil right here, y'all, that I use for my hair. And I don't know if y'all are familiar with Mielle, the brand, but they have a rosemary oil that went viral. And it was like a whole controversy. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all, that stuff is really expensive. Low-key was draining my bank account, so I decided to make my own, right? So for me, that was kind of one of the things I did to start prioritizing my physical self. That's a practice that I do every month, is make some rosemary and mint water, like just boil it. So with that, kind of stepping into my feminine and girly side, talking more to the woman now, but stepping into like my femininity and being comfortable, with getting my nails done and getting my lashes done. I feel like often as women it's kind of hated on, like, oh, like she's fake, she's material. And it's like, well, I mean, if it makes you feel good, it makes you feel good. And it should be the end of conversation with that. So for me, I really want to become comfortable with my physical self, and I already am. I have the highest confidence, honestly, ever that has been from, being bullied and from, having kind of low self-esteem to having the highest confidence in 2023 and soon to be 2024. But, that doesn't mean that sometimes I don't feel the best or I feel I don't look the best. And that's just honestly a moment of vulnerability for me, and I'm just human, So to move on, we're going to be talking about number 3. And number 3 is going to be to become more literate. And most of you might be like, well, what does that mean? And when I say that, being literate could be different things. It could be like financially literate. It could be like actually like reading literate. But what I mean by becoming literate is being able to read more and interpret more. So I don't know, I actually don't have the book. I actually do have the book on my desk. Look at that. But reading more books. And one of the books I actually kind of picked up this year, and honestly, to backtrack first, not to be all over the place, but just to give y'all a little backstory, I am not the type of person to read. Like, if you ever met me in like 5th grade, we did those reading logs. I hated that. Like, my parents had to force me to read. It's just not, well, it was not my thing. But recently I've kind of gotten into it and I realized like, wow, I don't have to read these boring books that honestly have no meaning to them. There's education books out there. Like, there are books that actually have meaning and that you can apply to your life. So one of the books that I first picked up, and it's a super famous book, most of you already know it, but it is Rich Dad Poor Dad. And when I tell you guys, I think everybody and their mother should read this book. I think everybody and their mother should read this book. And the reason I say that is because, it not only am I reading and I'm interpreting and I'm learning to kind of take things in a little bit more, but it also kind of breaks things down. And this book specifically is about financial literacy. And I know everyone's talking about, oh, I want to get my money up, but like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm serious. I don't want to have to pay off student debt for the rest of my life and get out of college and, have to rush to get a job to pay off these loans. Like, I'm sorry, that's not going to be me, and I don't want it to be y'all. So I'm trying to teach myself now while I can. And so what I love about this book is that it kind of breaks things down for you in a very childish way so that, being financially literate and all these numbers and stocks and all these like fancy terms don't seem so scary. And so that's really what I love about this book and what kind of got me into reading. And I wish I have a whole stack of books in that corner over there near my bed. Y'all can't see it. but I really wish to get through a few books this year and actually enjoy and make the time to sit down and read, to become more literate, to expand my vocabulary. Okay, so to digress off of that, we're going to step into number 4, and number 4 is master being timely. So I don't know about y'all, but if any of my friends are watching this, people who really know me watching this, y'all know I'm always late, and it's really bad. Like, it's not good. I honestly have an issue, like I said, another moment of vulnerability. I'm not perfect. I have an issue with being timely, meaning that, like, you know, I'm not always late. But when I say timeliness, like, you know, it takes, as the curly girls know, anyone, not even girls, guys too, who have curly hair, y'all understand, like, our hair kind of takes a long time. It's harder to tame. It's harder to deal with. So for me, my hair takes so long, and I feel like I'm always kind of rushing because of my hair. So, you know, becoming more timely to me means doing those little things like, how can I cut down time in the morning with doing my hair? Right? And it kind of goes down the line. So what has helped me a little bit was creating a schedule. I don't know if anyone is familiar with Notion. Again, this is not sponsored, unfortunately, but it's okay because we're gonna get there one day. But Notion is one of the best time managing, like tracking, just kind of like digital, like writing notes app that you can possibly have, that you can possibly put on your browser. And I suggest that everyone gets that to organize themselves in 2024. I use it, you know, to kind of schedule out my day. So for me, like, you know, I'll put my classes up there, what time, and I'm gonna do, like, I'm gonna put what I do in between each class, right? So for me, that helps me to be a little bit more timely. But, you know, stepping into 2024, I really want to take that seriously. You know, getting places on time, allowing myself, hey, Tori, you know that your hair takes what? An hour to do. It takes like an hour to dry, like high porosity hair, you know, so allowing myself to allot that time to do those things. So to step into number 5, we already talked about number 4, but to kind of step into number 5 would be become comfortable with putting myself in uncomfortable environments. To be specific, what I mean by this is just being comfortable with doing things that are uncomfortable. And honestly, I think just plain said like that, it's that simple. And that comes down to working out, right? It has to be like facts over feelings. Like, I can't listen to how I feel all the time, because if you listen to how you feel all the time, you might not get everything that you need to get done, and that's just the truth. So when it comes to example A, like going to the gym, right? I know a lot of you, there's a lot of memes out there talking about, oh, like gyms on January 1st, right? A whole bunch of newcomers, right? But, you know, honestly, good for them. But, you know, everyone is going to be in the gym January 1st. And so for me, when it comes to fitness, you know, you really have to be consistent. So there are times where I'm sitting there and I'm like, bro, I really don't want to go to the gym. I don't feel like pushing myself. I don't want to go. And I just have to sit myself down and be like, yo, like, you have to be consistent or else it means nothing. Like, you know, it's the same thing with eating. Like, if you're working out 24/7, 7 days a week, but you eating like crap, like, really, where is the consistency? So, you know, kind of looking at that and putting yourself in an uncomfortable position to not only be vulnerable, but, you know, to do something that you don't want to do. And that's just the reality of it, y'all. But really, you just have to do it. And when I say that, I really want to put it into perspective for you guys. And if there's one thing that you take from today's video in this first episode of the podcast, is it being this. If you were to get to heaven and God showed you everything that you were supposed to be, how would you feel, right? And that's just one of those things where you just sit back and you're like, oh my gosh, like, your time here is so limited. And for you to be worried about what does this person think, and like, oh, I don't feel like doing this today. I'm like, you know, like, I get it. We're not all David Goggins, right? Like, he is built differently. I'm definitely not David Goggins. I wish I had his mentality, but you know, I'm getting there. I'm building that. And that is what is so important. And to kind of digress and get off of everything that we've been talking about and to bring it together, I want you guys to look at 2024 as a year of application. At least for me, I know that 2023, again, was a very much learning year, a learning curve. And so I want 2024 to be a year of just getting stuff done and applying the things that I went through and that I learned in 2023. And I want the same for you guys. So hopefully If you haven't made your vision boards yet, this was of value to you. Hopefully this, kind of puts in things like to perspective of how you could and how you could possibly look at 2024 as an open opportunity to do better. But thank you again for tuning into this video as my very first YouTube video and podcast episode. I hope to see you guys in the next video, and thanks for watching.